Honestly, that is nonsense. Nonsense. All nonsense.
They say many garbage things.
You don't know what you're going to get.
Melodrama upon melodrama!
This is utterly
Shameful, disgraceful piece of nonsense!
Because he was miles off it yesterday.
You'll learn a lot more if you listen rather than talk all
Plenty
the
of
time.
time, no problem.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to a No Nonsense podcast. You can hear already the fear in your voices as you're saying, no. I know what's happening already. It can't be. It is, as the great Matt McCusker once said, the dreaded solo pod, a faith worse than death for podcaster and listener. But it'll actually be fine. It'll be great. I've done one before. Cathal is away in his holidays this week. He's gone, not to dox the man, but he's gone from Saturday to Saturday. So gotta keep the ship going. I don't think that's a saying, but gotta keep this thing afloat. Keep it rocking, because my God, last night Arsenal played Real Madrid, and is that the best? Let me actually. I'll go back to it. I'll come back to it. I'm jumping all over the place already. Cathal's not keeping things on track, so I'll come back to it. First, I meant to record this on Monday, SoloPod on Monday, for the Premier League's action. But unfortunately, I watched the Manchester Derby, Manchester game. Good God, it was awful. It was fucking brutal. A lot of people are calling it the worst Manchester Derby of all time. But I actually don't think that's true. I think I've definitely seen worse. I've seen more 0-0s, and I think back in for a while, it used to be quite a boring game. It never lived up to the hype. It was a running joke nearly that they'd always have that, like, the poem before the game on Sky Sports, where it's like, this is Manchester, blah, 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 Oasis or Blur, blah, 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 blah. And then the game would be awful. But over the last few years, I think it's improved a bit. Usually, I will say it goes one of two ways. City hammer Man United, 4-0, 5-0, something like that. Or Man United somehow overcome the odds and beat City. And that's happened quite a few times, even though they've been much better than us regularly. We've just had their number a bit. But this time, we've said it about the United-Arsenal game a few weeks ago, where has that game ever mattered less? Has this one ever mattered less? If Man United won, I think they stay in 13th. Man City, I know they're fighting for 5th with the Champions League, but that just feels wrong. You know what I mean? Like, I think they'd still be fine whether they win or lose this game. Doesn't seem like the rest of the teams up there are, winning every week. Like, they're all kind of dropping points here and there. They'll probably be fine. And just, I don't know, a must-win game to seal 5th place, that seems wrong to me. It felt like, a turning point for a lot of people. Gary Neville was ranting and raving, our favourite man that we like to talk about, ranting and raving after the game, but that the game is being strangled to death, being coached to within an inch of its life. All the joy has been sapped out of the game, which I actually do think is probably true to some extent, but I did think it was a bit ironic hearing him say this after that, a particularly boring Manchester derby, because definitely I've seen him calling for United to become more like City over the years. When Ollie was there and then Ten Hag were there, we need a coach. What are we doing out there? You watch City and they're coached so perfectly. They know what everyone has to do and blah, blah, blah. And now Man United are trying to get like that, and it results in a game like this where nothing happens for 90 minutes. And now it's the worst thing that's ever happened to football, because Gary Neville had to sit on co-coms and basically just sigh for 90 minutes. He couldn't give out about anything even because there was nothing going on. And he actually apologized for his co-coms after the game. Said he got sucked into, the poor game, and even his co-coms were poor. But I was thinking, like, what are you on about? They're always bad. But yeah, anyway, I'm talking about the shite game because I was supposed to do this episode on Monday, and it's just like, fucking hell, what am I going to talk about on my own? I could talk about Man United for 90 minutes, sure, but like they didn't give me much to go on in that one, you know? I think Man United are waiting for that Europa League game. It's Europa League or nothing. And even then, Amorim said he doesn't give a fuck about it. The season's already been ruined, as he said, basically. Liverpool did lose 3-2 to Fulham, though, so, you know, there's something to talk about. But even then, it was like, they're so far ahead. And it's not like Arsenal are ever going to catch them. What the hell can Arsenal do, I thought? They're Arsenal. They never win anything. They can never do anything. They never have big moments, you know, where they turn things around, or it never feels like they surprise you. And then last night happened. Good God. As I saw Declan Rice score the first of the two probably best free kicks I've ever seen in my life. The first one went in, I thought, fuck off. I was actually so annoyed. I don't particularly like Arsenal for years of being a United fan, but I don't like Declan Rice. But I was honestly more annoyed, like, fuck off. You've not been able to do that. Where's this come out of? Have I not been watching Declan Rice? Has he been doing this every week and I didn't know? Is he like a free kick scorer? Because he scored, the first one curled around the wall, and Courtois couldn't reach it. Do you know how far away a ball has to be that he can't reach it? He's 8 foot tall. It was unbelievable. I was so annoyed seeing it, thinking like, this fucking guy seems unfair. He's got the £100 million pound move. He moved to England, the national team, and has had a much better career because of it. Now he's also like a free kick scorer. He has that too. He's like fucking David Beckham. That's unfair. You can't have all the things. But yeah, it was unbelievable. After that first free kick, the camera panned to Roberto Carlos in the crowd. And I just thought, what is going on? What world have we entered? What simulation have we entered where the TV is comparing Declan Rice to Roberto Carlos? It just seems so strange. I'm not saying Declan Rice is no good or anything like that. He's unbelievable. But it's just like, when did he become this guy? You know, this like a baller. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's just, I couldn't wrap my head around it. I'll tell you, I'll be very bitter if you think we're bitter now in Ireland over Declan Rice. Just wait until he wins that fucking Ballon d'Or in a few years by the looks of things. When he starts, if he's able to do this, what else can he do? We'll find out, I'm sure. Because not too long after that, he lines up another free kick on the other side of the box. And he says, fuck it, I'm going to go for it again. I scored the first one. And the second one was even better. It sailed into the top corner. It was outrageous. I think it's literally the best free kick I've ever seen. It's probably my favourite I've ever seen. Maybe the only other one that I think is actually a better free kick is, I remember Rashford scored one in the Carabao Cup years ago against Chelsea. It was a knuckleball from miles away, and the ball went left and right and left and right and left and right and then into the top corner. But even then, that was like a Carabao Cup knockout game maybe against Chelsea. It wasn't a fucking Champions League quarterfinal against Real Madrid. Like, it's just crazy to even attempt it, let alone score it twice. And I saw after the game, Declan Rice was asked about the set piece coach. That's Arsenal's whole thing. The free kicks and the corners, and they're all, again, coached within an inch of their life, like Gary Neville says. But Declan Rice, apparently, the set piece coach told him to cross it. He said, cross, he's screaming at him, cross the ball, don't shoot. That'd be awful, you know? What's the percentage of that? How do I get any credit if you just hit it into the net? That's nothing to do with me. But apparently Saka told him to try it, and he scored it. Which does make me think, as this set piece guy, what a bluffer. Do you know what I mean? He's just like, no. What about me? You should cross it. Then you can do the thing that I want you to do. It's like, let the players fucking kick the ball. They might score it. Yeah, whatever about the corners. But the free kicks, I don't know. That seems crazy to me, that he's like coaching those to be like, no, move it over here, and you go here, and you run in here. And then, I know all the teams do that, but just when you see a player, you're like, yeah, they're all capable of just smashing it into the net. Just fucking go for it. It's a bit of crack, which I think was something that I noticed in those free kick goals. What was the last time we had a moment like that? A real moment in football where just like something unexpected like that happens, and it feels like the whole world is watching it. Feels like there's so many games on now. There's so many different things happening at all times. There's less risks than ever in football, the way that people play. But just to see Arsenal, little old Arsenal, who genuinely, this is probably the biggest game they've had in 20 odd years. And fucking, they smashed it. They made bits of Real Madrid. It should have been 7-0. Courtois had a double save that was unbelievable. Then he had a triple save, which is even crazier. What's the last time you saw a triple save? This game really had everything. I know, apologies now because I am just rambling, but I'm just spilling out all my thoughts from that game because it was mad. I haven't seen a game like that in a long, long time. Just to see, it was nice to see a proper all-time great moment. The second free kick especially. That is one you're going to see over and over and over and over again for the rest of your life. Again, like the Roberto Carlos free kick, like any famous free kick, David Beckham's against Greece and all that. That is one that you're going to see again and again. Like I said, Courtois had a double and a triple save. He had a great game and conceded 3 goals. So you really can't. You can't take this away from Arsenal at all. As much as, honestly, after the game, my head was running a mile a minute, and I was trying to think like, there's got to be something that they didn't do right. There's got to be something I can put them down about and feel like, but nope. Real Madrid came to town and they fucking hockeyed them off the pitch, and now the Real Madrid voodoo, I will say, doesn't usually start until the second leg and they're behind. They just didn't. They didn't look like the usual Madrid. I just don't know how. I don't see them scoring 4 goals. I know it's Madrid and they do that type of thing all the time, but just scoring 4 goals against an Arsenal team that now it seems like they've actually prepared for this in secret. All the dark arts and the Newcastle ball and the woke Stoke comparisons and the corners and just grinding games to a halt and sitting back. They've been ready for this. It's going to be tough to get 4 goals by Arsenal. I think they've done it. Who could have thought? And also, I will say, Cathal, Arsenal finally get a bit of joy, and he's missed it. I don't know if he's watching it on his holiday. Maybe he did, but I'm sure he would have enjoyed to come on here and just be gleeful that finally, a win for one of the good guys. Well, whatever you want to say about Arsenal, but you know what I mean. That's, I'm sure, what they're thinking. It's like, finally, something fucking went in our favour. They didn't crumble. Now, again, there's a second leg to come, so we'll see. You never know. But it feels like they didn't crumble. They stepped up to the plate on a big occasion, and they fucking smashed it out of the park. So, yeah. The Declan Rice stuff is just crazy. Crazy. I can't get my head around that. I will say also, I just checked the time there, see what I'm at. I'm at 12 minutes. And honestly, that's all I've got, I think. So I don't expect this to go much longer. This is just a very brief, not even much salient thoughts, just popping on and saying holy fuck, did you see that free kick? And then another one. And then popping off, and I'll see you again later in the week. And Mike Marino, actually, our boy, with another goal. He's banging them in. He's a stroke of genius. Bringing him on whenever you do and putting him up top if you want. Where have they found this? He has scored a great goal as well. He was running backwards. And he just managed to twist and turn and smash it into the bottom corner. Again, past Courtois. The game went so well for Arsenal that he even exercised a different demon where Camavinga in the 94th minute got sent off for kicking the ball away. It happened to someone else. It's not Arsenal this time. It happened against Arsenal. And now I'm assuming Camavinga's out for the next game because of it. Is it too good to be true? Have they used up all their luck? Well, not luck, but it just seems like that went too well. Too good to be true, I think. I think they're going to get through the next leg. Maybe it'll seem more ropey. They might concede a goal or two, but I don't see Real Madrid scoring 4. They just didn't look like they were going to score at all, really, in that one. Fair play to Arsenal. I'm sure they'll be delighted to hear that from me, their biggest critic. They can finally credit on the No Nonsense podcast. And Cathal's not even ear to ear. Yeah, let me look at my notes here, see what else I've got to talk about, because I don't want to do like a 15-minute episode. That would be mental. If you're listening to this at all, fair play. Oh yeah, that's another thing. I actually meant to mention this. Sorry for bouncing around. Liverpool, they lost 3-2 to Fulham. Hard to tell what that means again. They're so far ahead. They can afford to lose for the next month solid, I think, and still be ahead and still have plenty of time to win the league, plenty of games. But in good news for Liverpool, even though they lost, and I'm sure some of their fans are, even the most diehard Liverpool fan, when you lose a game that far ahead in the league, you must think, oh fuck, surely not. Surely we don't. Surely it's not going to happen, is it? But no, I don't think it is. I think they're going to win the league quite easily. But some good news for them. David Ornstein, the reliable journal, came out and said that about Van Dijk's deal. He said, and I quote, it's been my understanding throughout that Liverpool are confident, optimistic of renewing Van Dijk. And now it's a case of when rather than if he will put pen to paper, barring any last-minute hitches. The talks and negotiations have been positive and cordial, which is great news for Liverpool. Van Dijk's obviously a huge part of that team. He also said, like Van Dijk, it's now a case of when and not if the Egyptian puts pen to paper on a new deal at Anfield. It's the same situation with Mohamed Salah. Liverpool have been confident throughout they will retain his services, and as I said with Van Dijk, it's a case of when rather than if that's going to happen now. That is really good news for them. It certainly fucking is, David Ornstein. Because, I mean, win the league, it felt like it was going to be, wow, what a one last moment, with this team. And then we all go our separate ways, lads. We find a new Salah and a new Van Dijk and a new Trent. But it seems like they're going to win the league. Salah's still flying it. I will say his form's dipped a bit lately. So if you want to put on your tinfoil hat with me, I've got mine on already. I'm sure Cathal has his on his holidays just in case. His form dipped a bit lately. And my tinfoil hat theory is that, like David Ornstein said, the contract is pretty sorted. A word came through, it's like, yeah, they're offering what you want, mate. It's happening. We're staying at Liverpool. You can relax. You don't need to be scoring 4 goals a game. You don't need to be breaking any records, mate. You've done it. You got the contract. Now it's time to sit back and enjoy your 700 grand a week or whatever. So I wonder if that's happening. That's the cause of the slight dip over the last month. Again, the slight dip. He's still scoring every second game or whatever. He's still fucking Salah. But yeah, he's not this mad record-breaking run that it seemed he was on. That's kind of stopped or slowed down. So yeah, I wonder. Good news for Liverpool. The boys are staying. But, is it? If it's a double contract year performance, that will be tough. Because they're definitely going to be on huge money. And I mean, although it's a new era now, you can offload lads to fucking Saudi Arabia if all goes wrong. Or wherever. Like, there'll be lads willing to pay. I don't think it actually is too bad. That's all the news, folks, I think. I'm looking around here at notes and stuff. It's tough to do this on your own, let me tell you. Normally you see I have Cathal, or I'll be prompting Cathal, where sometimes Cathal will say, what else does there talk about? And I'll say, blah, blah, blah. And you go, yes, we launch into that. Do it on your own with no one. Maybe you, the listener, I'll give you a second. What else should I talk about? No way, I'm not talking about that. That's crazy. Not in this show, mate. It's PG. Bear with me, folks. Let me look on Reddit. What's going on? I checked transfer market, maybe? Wow, there's a quote. It's a good thing I checked Reddit. I didn't know this. So I was actually going to mention this later in the week. I'm going to be back again for another solo pod. I know. Sorry, just hang on. Just a few more days, folks. We'll be back to normal. I'm going to be doing another solo pod later in the week with tonight's Champions League games. Features Barcelona and Dortmund and I can't remember who else. But there's more Champions League tonight. And there's Europa League on Thursday, which Man United are playing in, which I'm probably going to watch that. Let's be honest. I can talk about that easy. They're playing Lyon. And before the game, there's been some, probably not the brightest comments from André Onana, who came out in an interview and he said, I feel like we're much better than them. I feel like we'll beat them, which, come on, mate. This is like press conference 101, football talk 101. Never say that. Never say we're better than them and we'll beat them, because guess what? You've riled them up. Now you've given them incentive to want to win and to throw comments back in your face, especially when you're the goalkeeper. What are you going to do? Have a perfect game? You haven't had many of them at United. But yeah, those comments have been knocking around. But I just saw there, there's an ex-Man United player at Lyon, Nemanja Matic. Remember him? And he was asked about André Onana's comments about Man United being so much better than Lyon. And he said, when you were one of the worst goalkeepers in Man United history, you need to take care what you're talking about. Oh my God. Wow. That is a tough one. Maybe it's reversed now. Maybe the incentive is back on Onana. Maybe it's like, hey, you need to prove you're not the worst goalkeeper in Man United history. Which, that's not fair. He's not the worst. He's pretty bad, but he's not the worst. There have been worse. I can't get over that. That's great. You never see footballers saying things like that. Oh, boy. All right, folks. I think I'm going to wrap it up here. 20 minutes. I know I said I'm going to do a 20-minute episode, but fucking, I've got nothing else. I meant to do a Q&A thing on the Instagram, and I totally forgot. So I might do that for later in the week for the Patreon. Speaking of the Patreon, $4.50 a month, access to all the bonus episodes when there's midweek football, when there's international tournaments. I'd say the Club World Cup will be getting some ultras love. Did I say Patreon? Cathal hates when I say Patreon. Branding, ultras. People hear Patreon, they think, oh, yuck, money, yuck. Yeah, I say ultras. So I'll be back for an ultras episode later in the week. $4.50 a month gets you access to all the bonus episodes. You get the backlog as well. I'd say there's probably hundreds, maybe not hundreds, 100 hours of bonus podcast there that you might not have heard before. There's even a little series we ran for a while called After Nonsense, where we talked about everything but football, which people actually seem to like. I don't know if we'll ever bring it back, though. Who was the time? Tough enough to do one podcast, never mind fucking 3 with a bonus on. Yeah, so that's there if you want to do that. Link in the description. If you want to throw me a bone for coming on here and doing a solo pod, say, Jesus, fair play, Will. That was awful. And yeah, we'll be back to normal next week. Cathal will be back. We'll hear about his holidays. I'm not going to dox the man, see where he is. In case, you never know. You never know who's listening. I don't know who could be listening. And I'm excited to hear what Cathal thought of the Arsenal game. If he even saw it. It does seem like a bit of a, like something from a dream or a joke or something for him to come back and be like, yeah, okay, I didn't see any football. What did I miss? Oh, Arsenal hammered Real Madrid. Declan Rice scored 2 of the best free kicks in history, back to back. Say, what? Who scored what? How did he do? Who? Like, yeah. He was like Roberto Carlos out there. That's what all the commentators were saying. So yeah, hopefully he saw it. If not, he'll have listened to this. He's listening to this on his holidays, definitely. Well, Cathal, how's things? Look what you've made me do here. The solo pod. Torture. But no, it was actually fine. Flew by. I don't know if it'll be fine to listen to, but look, enjoy it anyway, folks. I hope you liked it. I'll be back later in the week, like I said. And before I go, I don't think Cathal mind me saying this. This is something he knew about as well. I would like to say, get a bit real on the pod just for like a quick minute here before I go, which we never do. But I just want to say a quick word about a friend of mine who passed suddenly during the week. A friend called Brendan Reddy, who I knew back in the day. I was very close to about 10 years ago. But Brendan was super inspiring to me, taught me about being creative and being yourself and just putting shit out into the world and just making stuff for the fun of it with your friends, and how that's the real joy. You make stuff, you enjoy it, and then you look back and you think, fuck, I'm glad I did that. I learned a lot of that from Brendan. It inspired me to put out so much stuff over there, so much music and things like that. And I just want to say, rest in peace, Brendan. Honestly, if it wasn't for Brendan, I don't know if I'd be doing I definitely wouldn't be doing podcasts. There's no confidence in anything creative before I met him. So yeah, rest in peace, Brendan. Again, no, if I hadn't met him, I wouldn't be doing podcasts, wouldn't be doing music, anything like that. So I just wanted to get real for a sec and say that. And again, folks, sorry about the solo pod. Hopefully it wasn't too rambly. Hopefully it kept the voices away for 20 minutes on your commute or your walk at lunchtime or whatever. But yeah, we'll be back to normal next week. And for the Ultras, I'll see you for another Solar Pod later in the week, which I'm going to tell you right now is going to be better researched and more planned out because this was tricky. So yeah, enjoy your week, folks. The sun is shining out there. Who knows how long it'll last for, especially in Ireland. So good luck. Talk to you after.
Honestly, that is nonsense. Nonsense. All nonsense.
They say many garbage things.
You don't know what you're gonna get.
This is a utter, shameful, disgraceful piece of nonsense.
He was miles off it yesterday.
You'll learn a lot more if you listen rather than talk all the
Plenty of
time.
time, no problem.